We'll start with the England-Malta game. Um, Again, really underwhelming, I felt like, especially with the starting lineup that we had. I was surprised to see Rashford starting the game. What did you think about him kind of showing up, especially with the season he's had so far?
I didn't even think he deserved to be in the squad, let alone kind of get a starting berth. I think Gareth Southgate was testing some different people. Do I think he would have been in the starting lineup if everyone was fit? No. I think he tried to do some first team people in the first game and then other first team people in the second game. Like he had Grealish start today and Ollie Watkins start, but I think Grealish is higher in the pecking order than Rashford. So like things like that, just so it wasn't first teamers and then B team this next one. But I don't even think Rashford should be in the squad, especially when you have people that are missing out, like Raheem Sterling, who is better on that left wing than Rashford. He should have been in the squad ahead of Rashford. But for
He did
some
get pulled
reason,
into the squad, didn't he?
no, I don't think so.
No,
I don't
actually, I
think
think you're right.
I
I
don't
thought
think he
there
was
was an
called up
injury
at
and he
all.
got called up, but I
No,
think I'm wrong.
Cole Palmer got called up, but Rashford did not. And
It was Sterling.
same, what?
You said Sterling. You said Rashford.
Sorry, yes. Sterling did not. And then, like other people as well that could have been called up and weren't. Like, I mean, you have a lot of people that are injured, but you would expect people like Jared Bowen, who's a better player than Rashford, in my opinion, get a look in ahead of him. Um, you know, Rashford does not deserve a spot on the England squad, let alone a starting spot. So,
Yeah. And then putting Phil Foden on the right wing, which I feel like he just wasn't very effective over there. I would have preferred if Saka's not going to start, which I think he did sub Saka on, which he provided the assist to Harry Kane. I think Foden is more of a 10, in my opinion. I think
he
that's kind of where his
is
best position is.
he is more of a 10. The difficulty, and we're going to dive in, you mentioned we're going to dive into what our formations would preferably be. The difficulty is that 10 role is already locked and loaded, I think, in Gareth Southgate's mind and lots of people's minds. Um, that's that spot's going to Bellingham, and Foden's not going to take that away. But Foden is a phenomenal player, and I think Gareth Southgate wants him to fit in the team. And the way he's going to fit in the team is more likely as a winger than as a 10, in my opinion.
And I think he has quality on the wing. Like, I think at times he can be very effective. He has the footwork. I just don't think it was really clicking with the front three we had. And I think with Marcus Rashford, if he's having a poor game, it's really obvious because he doesn't bring much else to the table. He is mostly, I would say, an inside forward. Like, he's more of a cut in on your right foot and just rip one. But his link up play isn't as, I think, beneficial as your Saka's, as your Grealish's, as your Foden's. So he had a poor performance. I don't think he deserved to be on the squad either. I think the midfield was also really weak that we put out. Still talking about the Malta game. What did you think about? It looks like you have something to say. What do you want to say?
I don't understand Gareth Southgate. I don't understand him at all. He has this loyalty to players that doesn't make any sense. He's consistently called up Rashford even when Rashford is in poor form, and there are better people that can be on the squad. He's consistently called up Harry Maguire. There's enough said that we don't need to delve any more into that. There's no reasoning behind that.
Yeah.
He
No.
is calling up Jordan Henderson when there are better people that are suited to that, to be in the midfield, than Jordan Henderson, who is an aging football player in Saudi Arabia. There's better people that we can have in this squad, but for some reason, Southgate has this loyalty to these players, which ultimately I think is to England's detriment and could be the reason why we don't get a trophy under Gareth Southgate.
I think that's fair. And I agree. I get confused over these loyalties because show me the trophies we've won. Show me the players that haven't, like, quote unquote, haven't let you down. Like, we haven't won anything. And yes, we've gone to semifinals and we've had really fun tournaments to be a spectator at. But in terms of the material side of things, the people that he's relied on, yes, a lot of times they've performed well, but the team hasn't clicked. And there hasn't been the right amount of balance to where we can dispatch these teams that have that elevated level of quality. It's all great, said and good, beating Malta, beating Ukraine. Like, we also beat Italy, which is that was a really good match.
Italy's rubbish right now. It's like you look over Italy's squad, and they are not the same Italy, that won the World Cup in the past. We should be beating Italy.
Yeah. So with those kind of things, like with those countries, you really should be judged on the big games and where you perform. Who did we beat in the Euros where we went to the final? Like, we had a semi-easy run at it, honestly. So, yeah, for me, I just think there needs to be a lot
and
more.
World Cup. Yeah, the World Cup.
And the World Club.
Yeah, we had, up until, France, which we should have beaten France. Like, we really should have. They had a lot of injuries. We had an amazing squad. I personally don't. I'm not super optimistic based on the way England has looked. And yes, so I guess, what do you think? Do these two games matter? They're pretty meaningless, right? We topped our group. We were going to top our group. We got pot one. Overall, for the course of the year, we were undefeated. So England, we haven't lost a game in 2023. But, so, I mean, that's a great record and everything like that. But what do you think? Do you think these games matter?
I think they matter in a sense of characterizing your team and getting a feel for your chemistry, knowing how to play like with one another, having sort of your starting 11. And I'm all for experimenting with young players, but try and feed those young players into a more stable team to see how they perform. I just think it's so chaotic the way that Southgate's approached everything, as well as just the style of play. I feel like it's so poor, and like we're never really clicking as an England team, and it's so frustrating when you see all of these game winners, all of these like top tier talent. And the way that they're going about it is a very defensive, slow build up, like not creative style of play. It's really hard to watch sometimes.